Well, hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. I'm Ron for those on site here and those online. And this is BESThq's Mastermind for Purpose. I'm so excited to be here with you. And I thank everyone here at Tektronix at our office and also online, to all those online. Thank you for taking the time, joining to share what I think is probably one of our most important ideas, and to go and to look at a topic in which we can maybe make a little bit of a difference together. So the program is pretty simple. So for those here, apologies if it's a little bit small. Hopefully you can see it okay online there. We have a pretty simple program. We have an amazing list of folks that will be joining us and sharing their story around topic, which is purpose at work. I'll talk before that a little bit about why we're doing this and who we're about. We'll also do, we would normally do introductions, but given the time and the logistics, we're going to forego the introductions part. In chat, feel free online to add your name or information in chat. I think most folks here on site have a good acquaintance with each other, so we're gonna skip that part of the program. But we have a handful of amazing stories to tell about this concept of purpose. After that, we're going to actually break out into groups online as well as here, and look at the topic. And the topic here is how we actually live purpose at work. So that'll be right around 5 o'clock. We'll get to that in program, and then we'll come back at 5:30 and actually share it. We have a roaming mic here for folks to talk a little bit about their how they live purpose, how their group decided, hey, these are top few things about living purpose. And then same online, we'll actually be putting you into breakout rooms online to where you can talk in smaller groups about living in purpose. Sound like a good plan? Promise to have you out on time, which is 6 o'clock, maybe a little sooner, but I have a feeling it's going to be incredible. It's amazing. So let's get right into it. So James, go ahead to the next slide. And I'll just again share. I'm Ron. This space we're in, this virtual platform, as well as physically here in Beaverton at the Tektronix campus, is the headquarters of what's called BESThq. BESThq is a collaborative business community, an organ benefit company, and it is committed to what we call the quadruple bottom line, or that of elevating people, profit, planet, and purpose in the marketplace. So through enterprise development. So accordingly, as an organ benefit company, technically it functions a lot like what you would typically see as a nonprofit, but it's not. It's a for-profit enterprise that seeks to actually use some of the market to help elevate purpose and do things in a way that make a difference. So therefore, it would qualify here in Oregon and is technically an organ benefit company. There are last check around 25 or 2,600 companies registered with the state of Oregon. It's the Secretary of State's office, and you simply declare in your operating agreement of your company that you're committed to a few things. One is sustainability or environmental support, also in terms of wanting to support people or community, so provide some sort of benefit, and then you report it. You publicly share some of the things you do. There's no cost to it, and there's no real, you don't actually get anything for being an organ benefit company other than the declaration that you're committed to benefit for community. So it's kind of a cool thing. If you haven't checked it out, do check it out. And if you want to learn more about BESThq and kind of what we do and how we're organized, you can go ahead to besthq.net and or talk to some of the team here. Next slide, please. We have a couple of amazing hosts and sponsors today. Our place that we're live streaming from here is it's called Tektronix. It's one of Oregon's largest and oldest companies that has really created a lot of the space that is now known as the Silicon Forest, or a lot of the high tech that happens here in Oregon really originated way back when out of Tektronix. Very, very amazing history. They're kind enough to have us cohabitate their space. This is actually well, it was a cafeteria pre-COVID, and now we're sharing it with a vaccine clinic, a COVID, a Corona-19 vaccine clinic, which happens behind those curtains, right? If you're here on site, you would see behind those curtains, and you can see some of the supplies over there. It happens Thursday through Sunday, and it's free. So check it out. It's pretty awesome that they provide the space for community. And what we walked into earlier today was actually a blood drive that had finished up. So there's blood drives, vaccines. Unfortunately, the cafeteria never opened up after the clinic or after COVID, but they do have a really wonderful little cafe down the way there. And also our sponsor for the food tonight's CoServe International, wonderful partner for years, doing and collaborating together. Thank you so much. The food looks amazing. I'm extremely hungry right now watching, but I'm sure there will be plenty later on. So thank you, CoServe, and we'll hear more about who they are in just a bit. All right, next slide, please. Okay, again, this is the program. We have, I'll talk a little bit about why we do this. And then we have a handful of presenters, some online as well as some here. And then we'll go into our breakout rooms and report out. So we're gonna have a good time. To the next slide, I will share a little bit more about the organization. We have a large B2B trade show, BESThq, that does an annual business expo event called Business Expo West. Is actually here. And to the next slide, some of the sponsors that helps make this happen. This is a listing here. And for these organizations, they help keep us alive through sponsorships and through contributions in terms of partners to the organization. Why we do this is really simple. It's a way for us to convene community and to help bring forward, again, one of our most important assets as we look in business enterprise. Why we do Mastermind for Purpose, it's really about if we can use this asset of our mind to elevate purposeful work and to share ideas, exchange, that helps contribute to our mission and those that are supporting us. So that's why we gather like this. It happens once a month, every third Tuesday. And we're excited to have you here. We will also next month actually be live streaming from one of the presenting partners, Verde Builds. So Jimmy's going to be talking a little bit about what they're doing with ductless heat pumps in a bit. There he is, waving his hand. And we'll actually be in Northeast Portland next month, again, third Tuesday, 4 to 6 o'clock. So before I turn it over here, I will do a quick update. Part of the BESThq community, next slide, has a connection to purposeful projects. And these are the 5 purposeful projects that were lifted up at the trade show, and they were selected by a committee, lifted up. So these are organizations, or these are icons of projects that are doing some pretty cool stuff around community. You can go online, learn more, but actually we're going to hear a couple updates, that of the SBUA, and then later Verde Builds. So these are projects of work that's being done in community that we committed to just elevating earlier in the year. And at these types of events, we give just real 1 minute or 2 minute updates on various ones. Our ones for today, Todd Kimball, are you there online, buddy?
I got you, Ron.
Hey, boss, can you tell us what's happening? He's connected with SBUA. I'm going to put you in spotlight here so everybody can see you. Hey, what's happening with the SBUA, Todd?
Well, the biggest thing I want to stress to the online community and people at Tektronix today is that SBUA is an advocacy organization for small business. We're truly here as a resource, and that can take a number of different facets. If you're having a hard time with your utility bills, you're having some financial difficulty, we can help you qualify for programs that are out there. If you think your bill's a little bit too high and you want to appeal certain things, we can help you with that process. And the final thing is that there are some incentives for certain business decisions and certain use of utilities and electricity and such, certain investments that you can make in technology that qualify you for rebates and such. And SBUA can be a valuable partner and consultant in helping you make those economical decisions. So we're here as a resource and trying to get the word out that we're here to help the small business community.
All right. Well, hey, thanks, Todd. And also for everyone to know, our September Mastermind for Purpose will actually focus on the SBUA and some of the work they're doing. So look for that at besthq.net. All righty. Hey, we are about into it. I'm gonna let Todd go back to his virtual seat here, and then open up view for yours locally here. And before I turn it over to our first guest, I just would like to share to those here that BESThq as an organization represents a movement towards purpose. And I see a wonderful young friend of, oh my gosh, maybe it's got to be 20 years since I've seen it. It's great to see your name on the list here in the crowd. But prior to this, I worked for a company by the name of Hoffman Construction, and it's been up almost 20 years, 17 years or so since I left and started coaching, consulting, and then about 11 years ago started BESThq as an organization, and really a leap of faith in that movement forward. I was trying to make a little bit of a difference with our days, and my story on purpose is really roots back to wanting to, after all is said and done, and consider the amount of waking hours that we have and amount of time that we spend at work, trying to say at the end of the day that, yeah, there's a little bit of purpose or a little bit of a difference that was made. And so for the friends here and then online, maybe again, it's great to see you. It's been a while, and this is one of the things of the technology that's kind of cool is we get to kind of circle back and reflect a little bit and try to bring a little bit of us in our working day. So that's the quick snippet. I can share with you also that this organization was originally rooted in inspiration from Ignatian spirituality or the Jesuit tradition. That's where I personally have felt called and used to guide the decisions that I've made in my working career, and that's important, that we all have some sort of beacon, some sort of light that helps guide us with what we do. So that's the quick on BESThq as an organization committed to purpose. Now we have a handful of special guests. We're going to start online with my great friend, Mr. James Autry. And James, I want to pull you up to the front here, buddy. Look at that.
All right.
And if you could do me a favor and introduce yourself and share a little bit. And before he does that, I got to give special thanks to James, who's been a friend and partner for a long time, many years with the organization. He's hosting the group on site. He's also the executive director of a group called Serving Our Neighbors, which for decades has really been making a difference in community. So James, go ahead and take it away. Can you tell us a little bit about your purpose at work?
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Ron. It's awesome to be a part of this community and to be able to engage in what's happening in the Portland area. It's a lot of good stuff is happening, and it's amazing to see how we can just show up and watch things develop as we just put forth the gifts and talents and things that we have. Am I getting choppy or heard? Is it coming through pretty well? Okay, at least the online audience is sounding pretty good. Okay, good. Well, I do want to just thank you again. It was through BESThq when we met. We were doing a group called the Christian Chamber of Commerce, and Ron showed up at my meeting, and then I began to show up at his meetings. And it was in the executive briefing that I really began to understand how critical and important purpose is. I mean, the illustration that I was seeing was if you just focus in on profit and that's all you're about, it's going to be like riding a unicycle. It's a lot of fun and you can go and do fun things with it, but you're a little bit limited. When you focus in on perhaps people or planet, it's like riding a bicycle. It's two wheels. Again, you can go pretty fast, but it's usually just a one rider. When you add a third wheel, like you're focusing in on profit, planet, and people, then you've got a three-wheeler and you've got a little bit more stability and you can have a few more people on there. But when you really bring to front the purpose element, it's like four wheels. And so cars, trucks, cargo machines, all kinds of vehicles are pretty stable. And that purpose element is so critical to being able to add what's needed to really make your organization soar. And so what we've been doing is, through Serving Our Neighbors, is collaborating leaders to work behind the scenes and to discover where are those purposeful elements that we can bring to the forefront. Obviously, everybody needs to be making money. We need to take care of what's our planet and environment. And then we need to focus in on people, making sure that they live fruitful, healthy lives. But when you add that purpose element where everybody's moving forward in one direction, you begin to see a lot of synergy takes place. And one particular story that's fresh and exciting is there was a facility here that Multnomah County had built as a corrections facility to be a transition center to allow people to come out of the incarceration into community and to get job training and to get health issues figured out and so forth. And then they, after building the building in 2003 and 4, let it sit empty for about 16 years. And so it talks about $58 million to build it and then another $40 million for an empty building. And we discovered it about 5 years ago and said, why is this building that could, house about 500 people actually empty, and we're still paying money for an empty building through Multnomah County taxes? And so we began talking to folks and engaging people in that conversation and began to see things move forward, wherein Jordan Snitzer purchased the building, and then helping hands with 10 facilities up and down the coast were given the ability to be able to facilitate that. And this year, we opened up a completely remodeled space with 318 beds, and we are able to help 4,500 people a year get housing and get jobs and get their head and their heart healed in a community space that's just amazing. So I'd love to have you come out and see it. Earlier this year, I did about, throughout last year as well, I did about 128 tours and engaging about 500 leaders to say, wow, this is what we can do in repurposing buildings as well as people and giving people an opportunity to get to that next level. People that are homeless or unsheltered have to go through a referral partner, and we've trained about 500 or 600 people on how to engage and to understand who we can help and who we can't help. And then now it's fully open and engaged, and it's just an amazing space. And the other fun partnership of that is working with Ron to build a community garden there. What's going to be about 100 feet by 100 feet, and now it's 3.5 acres in partnership with Vet Rest. And we have a huge space there with fruit trees and a walking park and vegetable gardens and so forth. And it is amazing space to come and see what happens when the community comes together. So, Ron, thanks for letting me share.
All right, James. Again, I really appreciate you, brother, and the work you do, and for the stories and the differences that you're creating and sharing. So, all right, let's give it up for Mr. James Autry. Yeah. All right. Hey, we've got it. The hits keep getting better. So I'm going to send you back to your virtual seat here, and I'm bring up my good friend, Mr. Jimmy B. All right, Jimmy, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Thanks for having me, Ron. Thanks so much, man. I'm pretty excited, pretty stoked to talk to you guys about some of the work that we've been doing and the lives we've been impacting.
Yeah, Jim, I'll tell you just a super quick setup here. Jim is connected with a group called Verde. James alluded to it earlier. There's a park, Cully Park in Northeast Portland. Incredible story. I've been blessed with the opportunity to help put it together, and he's going to share a little bit about the work that Verde does. They are indeed an Oregon nonprofit organization, but also a social enterprise. So with that, Jamie, lay it on me, buddy.
Yeah, so just a quick introduction about who I am. So my name is Jim Balderas. I am the outreach coordinator. I'm the Ductless Heat Pump Activator Coordinator for Verde Builds. And a lot of the work that my program has been doing, specifically in Verde, is the installations of ductless heat pumps for underserved communities here in the state of. We've been expanding outside of Portland, so we've been going bigger, just in general, just in the state of Oregon. We're in partnership with the Energy Trust of Oregon and the Portland Clean Energy Fund to provide incentives that make the installation of and the purchase of a ductless heat pump more accessible to underserved communities. A lot of the folks that we serve have very outdated systems where their energy bills are more than $200. I'm talking like $500-$600 during the winter time just for heating their house. And so the interesting thing about the ductless heat pumps is that they're so efficient that they end up slashing people's bills in half, and that's money that they can use for rent, for food, for bills, any other necessities other than just giving it to the utility companies. And so when we ask about the question like why a ductless heat pump, like that's one of the reasons why. So oftentimes people like they really dig in on me like what makes the ductless heat pump so special, just like the money saving aspect. And yeah, that's one aspect, but I look at it like we're doing 3 goals with specifically ductless heat pumps. The ductless heat pumps, they specifically target like economic justice issues where it comes through with saving people that money, but it's also an environmental issue because we're saving people money and then lowering our carbon footprint. 40% of the energy spent in a house goes specifically to heating and cooling. And so when we're cutting that in half, that puts us in a better position for heat waves, for when those high energy use times during the day where people need heating and cooling. And so those are like the 3 main things. It's the economic justice, the environmental justice, and just being in a better position overall for years to come. And ductless heat pumps provide, like they tackle those issues that we're going to have. And some of the technology that we're getting in, it keeps getting better. We recently started installing some ductless heat pumps that have a more eco-friendly refrigerant, because they still need their refrigerant lines, but just knowing that they're getting that much better throughout the time that we're working with. What makes this program really unique, in my opinion, from other programs, is that it's not just just giving it to a nonprofit. The money, like we get money from the Energy Trust of Oregon and the Portland Clean Energy Funds. Pretty soon we'll be getting federal funding that will be able to expand our pool applicants. But that money, it's a private and public partnership, and so we're getting that money through the city, the state, the federal government, and we're using that to uplift not only the communities but businesses. And I think that's really important right there, that we're uplifting the communities along with our local businesses. And so we specifically work with women-owned, women-led contractors or BIPOC contractors. We're still looking for more contractors to on board, but the two that we have, they're women-led contractors. They've been amazing to work with. And, you know, when we talk about underserved communities, we're talking about like the business side also. And we're making sure that that money that we're getting is going directly to the people that live in the community and people that work in the community. Excuse me, people that work in the community. And so I think that that's a pretty important like key in our ductless heat pump activator program. And that's kind of just the general overview of our program. So thanks so much, Ron, for giving me the time to talk about it. You know, looking forward to hearing what everybody else is working on.
Yeah, outstanding. Well, hey, let's give it up for Jimmy. Let's just give it applause. And I got to tell you, he was pretty humble on his talk there, because he left a job as an organizer with one of the local communities to come work and really lead this program. And it's an incredible program. And I've had the good fortune of actually stepping into the homes of the lives that are changed through this purposeful work. This is, as Jimmy mentioned, multiple organizations coming and supporting this creating of a ductless heat pump or mini splits, or a very efficient heating and cooling system. So especially you're hearing in Europe where people are dying now because of the heat. Last year we had that happen here, the excessive heat and also the cold as it relates to the impact on just paying your utility bill and trying to survive and thrive. So it's really making a huge difference of individuals that are on the margins or just trying to make it forward. And so Jimmy, I really appreciate you sharing, you joining. And again, next month we're actually going to be at the Verde's office in Northeast. You're going to get a look inside live stream. You can join from anywhere in the world, right? Get the Zoom, and then you can see more in depth on what Verde and Verde Builds is doing. So thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you. We'll show you a little bit of the magic. Thanks, Ron.
Yeah, it's amazing what the difference they're making. All right, so I'm going to send him back to his virtual seat, and then we have one more online guest, and then a couple more with our friends from CoServe that are going to be sharing here next. And that is Mr. Michael Bergman. Hey, Bergie, dude, are you there in the crowd? I see him waving. There he is. I'm going to bring him up to the virtual front. And I met Michael B. It was a couple decades plus ago, and we were blessed with the opportunity of going to the same church together. And I think we shared some time in Sunday school and our kids, and now they're all up and married and all that good stuff. And we did some projects and some things together. I'm going to turn it over to Michael. He's going to share a little bit about some of the amazing purposeful work that he does. And we might even, I did check in. We might have the video for Q. James. Are we good on that? Yeah, it is. So whenever you're ready, Michael, we can run video.
Yeah.
Michael,
so I'll give a little bit of background. So my company is called IncubatorU, and I have kind of a 5-step methodology that I apply towards a lot of different, actually any aspect in whether it's business, teams, organizations, or what has started to kind of transform is with communities. And so the 5 steps are imagine, identify, initiate, implement, integrate. Keep those in mind. It's a nice circle. I can send that out to you. Ron and I just completed a project, and it's still ongoing out in Maupin. And we built a world-class track and field facility out there that is it's actually really transforming that community. And so never leaving a stone unturned and no moss growing on the bottom of my feet. I also started to identify some areas in other rural communities, and one of them being in the McKenzie River Valley. So one of my, in the theme of purposeful projects, I feel that social change can transform a community through sport. And I really feel that a track represents that. It's a circle. It's kind of the circle of life. You get a lot of community gathering. You have events. So I'm the president of Portland Track, and put on we put on world-class meets in Portland, but during the pandemic, we put on a world-class meet. We were the only ones that actually put on a live sporting event, like in the state of Oregon. And one of them happened to be at this track that I knew about in Blue River, Oregon. And it's like this track and field of dreams that's dropped in the middle of the mountains. 6 weeks later, as many of you know, the wildfires devastated that area. It just completely came through and incinerated the town of Blue River and many of the communities around it. So about 150 people lost their homes. And so we leaned in and stayed involved. And, and so the next year I put on another track meet during the Olympic trials up there during the break during the Olympic trials. And it was called the McKenzie International. We brought in international athletes to compete or to race to get times so they could compete in Tokyo, because they couldn't leave the country because of the quarantine challenges. So we put on a meet for them and raised about $5,000 for the community. So fast forward, currently we're right in the middle of the World Championships in Eugene, which we've been talking about for 3 years. And I've been down, 3 days this last week, and I'm heading back down tomorrow. But one of the, special things that I was really working on was I felt that the way for the world to see Oregon was through the beauty of some of these rural communities. And so I took it upon myself, working with Oregon 22 and Travel Oregon, realizing that they didn't really have a handle on it. And so I went out, and one of the teams that I was able to get was Ireland. So I hosted the Irish national track and field team up at McKenzie River. And James, do you have that video that I just sent Ron? So KGW came up, and but yeah, so run the video and you can kind of see the impact it has on this community.
Reported in the past, several communities in our area are serving as training camps for different countries competing at Hayward Field. KVAL Sports Director Hayden Herrera shows us how the people of the McKenzie River Valley have opened their doors and their track.
Nestled along Highway 126, some 40 miles away from Eugene, lies McKenzie Community Track and Field, a track community that has persevered after the devastating Holiday Farm fire less than 2 years ago.
And I wanted to create like a way for teams to really experience the beautiful, state and resources that we have.
So for the past week, McKenzie River Community Track has hosted Team Ireland to stay and train ahead of the World Athletics Championships. Vice President Michael Bergman says the community has embraced the Irish.
We had an organic farm bring blueberries to the athletes one day. Some of the coaches went on a raft trip yesterday.
Paul McNamara is the performance director and team leader for Athletics Ireland. He says while the accents and scenery are different, many Irish athletes competing come from rural communities, and staying in the McKenzie River Valley has been fantastic.
I think when we roll on into Eugene, the welcome we have had here, which I'm not beating around the bush. I think the guys have enjoyed this camp more than any camp they've ever been on.
Mark English can back that statement up. The 29-year-old has competed in 4 world championships and is soaking up every moment of Oregon scenery.
It's cool. It's lots of wilderness, lots of wildlife about, brilliant running trails. It's very therapeutic just even waking up and seeing the countryside. It's really nice.
So come Friday, the Irish won't just have luck on their side. They'll have an entire community cheering them on.
It's that sense of welcome and belonging that we felt here that has made this camp really special for us.
From McKenzie Community Track and Field, I'm Hayden Herrera.
All right. right, that's a great story, Hayden. Team Ireland has 21 athletes in town for the World Championships. They have a chance to win a medal on day one in the mixed 4x400 meter relay, an event Ireland reached the finals in during last year's Olympics.
All right. So that was, so I was able to get Ireland there and then Spain at Corban University. But again, it just shows that, by creating this opportunity, kind of the Imagine, it was amazing how many people in that community leaned in. I mean, it was like they all wanted to invite, they assumed they all wanted to go drink, but they were actually training. So they were, I had to play a little bit of a, I had to create a framework to be able to make sure it was successful. But there, it was one of those things that, people lost their homes, and this just gave them hope to think that this could be something that could repeat itself. And all of a sudden it got worldwide coverage of this, the impact. So anyway, so that's kind of my purpose, and I love doing it, but kind of through the lens of sport.
Outstanding, outstanding, Michael. Especially that inspiration in nature, right? Which I personally love and appreciate, especially the work out there at Maupin. Congratulations on your very purposeful work, clearly making a difference in the lives of folks out there, and in this case, maybe a world champion or two.
Yeah, we got them coming up next week. We got the Union Athletics Club team camp. I'm literally putting the menu together right now. So, but I'm also got a note to call the lady with the blueberries to make smoothies.
All right, here's up for Michael. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks.
All right. Hey, we are right on track here, right on schedule. We have we have two more very special guests. And for those online, you have the opportunity to virtually be here. They are actually on site here with us. They're connected to us through a group called CoServe International. As I mentioned at the beginning, CoServe has done some incredible work, throughout the world. And it's my great pleasure, my honor to be hosting the group here. And my good friend Gary Williams, you want to come on up, my friend? All right, we're gonna give it up for Gary. I'm gonna turn over the mic, and he's gonna take us through this next, and then I'll come back when you're done. Okay. And then we'll move everybody into the breakouts, and we'll go from there. Great. All right, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Gary Williams.
Thank you, Ron, and thank you for allowing us to have this opportunity to share about CoServe and the idea of purpose. Purpose is a very significant part of the training that our students go through. They're from 7 different countries: Nigeria, Thailand, Philippines, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, United States here. I know I missed one or two. Afghanistan, yeah. So we'll be able to hear from, and that's where I go, is into Afghanistan to share about leadership. And so I'm going to ask actually two from our team to come up and share a little bit about the purpose. Dan, you want to come up and share about the purpose of CoServe and how do we find our purpose? And then we'll hear from one of the students.
Great. Well, it's really nice to be with our team here at CoServe and also all of you online. Let me try to tell you just real briefly about CoServe's purpose. Let me say, first of all, that it's inspiring to hear about the purposes of Todd and James Autry and Michael and Jim today. Thank you. That's really inspiring to hear about what you're doing and what you've been called to do and how your own purpose has developed. CoServe really started by wanting to develop leaders at universities in countries around the world. We started first in Kazakhstan, and as we were working with young people in universities around the world, we recognized the real need for leadership development. We saw in countries all around the world that there was a leadership crisis happening, that young people were not, no one was talking to young people about what is good leadership. What kind of leaders does your country need? And that's when CoServe really started to think deeply about helping young people to develop as servant leaders, leaders that serve their people, leaders that care about people. And as we started to do that, we learned a lot ourselves about what it means to train people to be servant leaders and how to be servant leaders ourselves at CoServe. And I just want to share a few things because it relates directly to purpose. First of all, CoServe has come to understand how important community is in the whole process of developing leaders. We believe that you can only serve people really in community. And that, I believe, applies to businesses, to churches, to nonprofits, to any group or organization. If you really want to serve people, it doesn't happen, as maybe the strong helping the weak or the rich helping the poor. It happens when people come together and help people in community to each find their place in that community, how they can use their gifts and their potential to achieve the community's purpose. And so what we learned is every community, no matter what the purposes of the community is, the community ends up being an incubator to help people find their own purpose. If you're really caring about the people, in whatever community you have, whether a business community or other community, you're always helping the people in your group to think about what is your purpose? What's the best way that you can serve? And it even can mean that ultimately, if your best purpose is not in our community, you might go off and you help them find the right community for them. So CoServe today, we describe our mission as modeling and cultivating servant leadership communities around the world. And as Gary said, we work with 6 partners in 6 countries that are communities who are involved in servant leadership development. And what's interesting is CoServe is based here in Oregon, but most of our work is actually helping our partners around the world. I work at a community in the Philippines, and where we are all about helping people think about their purpose in that community. We have a community development organization in the Philippines, but something that I just want to say is, I'm sorry, I forgot what I wanted to say. Yeah, oh yes, not only do we want to help these communities, but we want to model it. And right now, what we're doing here in Portland today is we've gathered students from partners in Afghanistan and Thailand and Kazakhstan. And we are doing in a program we call our Servant Leadership Academy. And we're taking our students to see different organizations here in Portland. And one of them is BESThq, so that as they see different examples of communities and businesses that are serving people, they can think about their own purpose. So I just am so excited to explain to you that our group that is here today, what we are helping them think about is their purpose. And we are modeling a short-term community right now that's helping people to think about their own purpose. And so that our dream is that they can go start their own communities, which will then, where they find their purpose, and they build a community around that purpose where the people in those communities can find their purpose. So we just love what BESThq is doing. And I hope you understood a little bit about what CoServe is doing. And now, can I go ahead and invite Masuma up? We want to invite one of our students from Afghanistan, who's going to talk to you about what happens when purpose gets a little bit interrupted along the way. So Masuma, you're welcome. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Masuma from a country far from US. Actually, my friends know my name, but I'm talking to those that can see me through Zoom. Okay, anyway, today I'm supposed to talk about purpose. I just want to go back to the time that I was 5 or 6 years old. In that time, I was living in Iran and I really like to learn, speak English and I teach. Most of the time, I just gathered my sisters and some dolls and I pretended and acting like a teacher started just like the toddlers that pretend that I'm speaking English. It was one of my big wish. And when we moved to Afghanistan, the first time or the first period of Taliban started. And in that time, it was very disappointing because I didn't know what will happen to my future. Can I achieve my goal? Can I get whatever I want or no? But anyway, during those dark and disappointing time, I just starting to stay positive. I started to read different types of books, novels, short stories, whatever that came to my hand. In addition, I just started to discover my talents in different areas, like whatever that Afghan women can do, embroidery, I don't know, knitting, cooking, whatever, because I just wanted my life to be purposeful instead of just sitting and thinking about this dark uh, time. After Taliban, I mean the first time, the first period after Taliban, even though it was very late, but I just started to continue my education. I continued 2 years in 1 year and finally I could get to my university. I started studying at English Literature Department of Herat University. And in that time, at the same time, I started to teach it because I understood that if I want to achieve my goal, I should experience it. Anyway, when I started teaching, of course, it was a chance to enter all the international organizations like JRS, like some project with US Embassy, with Swedish Committee for Afghanistan, and they helped me to discover myself. In addition, in 2019, I found out about Leadership Development Institute, and that's why I just participated in that. And it was not possible if I didn't know English. So I became a part of that. And in that time, I really understood the real meaning of leader, because it was something traditional that a leader is someone who is at the top. But in leadership class, I understood that sometimes a leader can be at the bottom, like the servant leaders. And within this program, we had to do something different. We had some projects with our classmates that we have to help our community. Even though we could do it financially by ourselves, but we wanted to have it different. It means we wanted to know the value of each penny. That's why our group decided to sell some coffee around the city. Oh my God, it was very tough because some of the people just look at us and they just started laughing. Why are you selling coffee, hot coffee? Just make it in the glass. And some people bought it maybe something around $10, maybe $50, or maybe 50 cents. Just whatever they gave us, we just accepted. With those money, from the morning until the afternoon, we could support 2 couples to get married. And also we helped this disabled foundation, and we just helped them to provide something for their winter. It was a very good experience because I understood that sometimes maybe we have everything, but we should put ourselves in pain in order to understand the different situation. Anyway, then, as you know, again, Taliban came because maybe they really like Afghan people. That's why for the second time that they just started to come. And it was one of my goal that I never leave my country because I really like to help my people. But I don't know, something happened. All the dreams just uh, were torn. I just lost myself at the beginning because I didn't know what to do. A leader, of course, this is our responsibility to take care of our people. But first, we should be in a safe place. Otherwise, we cannot continue. So that's why I decided to just leave the country. but I never give up. I never forget my purpose. When I was in a military base as a camp for all the immigrants in Germany, I was there for 2 months and I was a volunteer English teacher, and I helped around 1,200 people to learn English. We had classes from 9 o'clock in the morning until 6 in the afternoon. It was very good, even though I was feeling homesick, I was disappointed, but it was a way to refresh my mind. And right now in San Diego, I live in San Diego, and I do something like one of the friends that shared, they help people, homeless people, or those that they do not have enough financial support. We just help in the company. I help them, I connect them to the county of San Diego, and they can apply for some benefits. They are Afghans, and also they are Americans, Mexican, different types of people. Of course, as a leader, this is my responsibility to take care of all human beings. Anyway, just I want to make it short and have a definition of purpose for myself, because everything that we read in the books, of course, they are something repeated. But for me, I call purpose as a candle in a very dark cave. I call purpose as a flower in a desert. I call purpose as the last leaf on a tree branch. And I call my purpose as a drops of rain on a dried land, as a clean air to breathe, to save and stay alive. This purpose, I mean, learning English or teaching English or helping my people, helped me to stay positive in a negative world when everything was dark around me in Afghanistan. It was a way to smile when everybody else was crying. It was a way to stay hopeful when everybody else lost it. And of course, whenever you have purposes, there are some obstacles and challenges. Every time the path is not something straight that you just go forward, you should deal with it. And if you consider a rubber, I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, rubber, then you can stretch it. When you want to throw away a stone, first you pull it back and then you throw it forward. As much as you pull it back, you can send it forward. So obstacles and challenges are like that. And sometimes the first period of Taliban, the second period, and even right now that I'm a newly arrived immigrant, of course, these are challenges, but I know that I can make it, and I have a bright future. This is something clear. And that's it. I really like everybody to find out their purposes, because without purpose, of course, our life is meaningless. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for being that flower. And no. That was amazing. You're an inspiration, and I really appreciate you sharing today. Gary, do you want to go ahead and wrap things up?
Yeah, just wanted to thank our CoServe team and the BESThq team for this opportunity of really talking about purpose. It really is a challenge to have your purpose just ripped out from underneath you, right? And to be able to keep stepping forward. And that really is where you're really showing that you're committed to your purpose and you're moving forward in that. So Ron, it's really been a pleasure to be able to be here and to share with those about purpose.
Thanks, brother. Well, we're not done, but I thank you for everything through the decades, literally together. And again, thank you for being the flower, a light, a spirit, a hope, and for all that you've gone through. So we're just warming up. We are just warming up online and here. Some incredible stories. Special thanks to all the guests that shared their stories, and to everyone for the work that you do. We're going to help kind of turn it up a little bit here. Okay. So again, back in program, we're going to be going into breakout sessions. All right. Well, welcome back. Welcome back all. Hey, great to see you. How about the masterminding? Are we just starting to get things flowing in some of the conversation? I was listening in a bit, and y'all kind of feeling some of that?
Yeah.
Huh? You guys yeah, wave to the crowd out there, right? All right. So we're going to begin online, and we're going to, let's see who's going to volunteer to share. And again, we're looking at highlights from your group, maybe just a few takeaways, how we're going to live purpose. So who wants to raise their hand and go first? I'll bring you up to the virtual spotlight up here.
Wow. Well, thank you guys. Yeah, I think what we shared and what Mike and Mamie were really talking about was just centering back on our focus of really people. And I think all of us really agreed that really restarting our purpose is finding more, even though we get into our busyness, it really is about people. It really is loving people and really helping our neighbors and really doing that. And so I can say for myself, that was kind of the purpose, is reigniting that fire and that hunger to really serve people, and to really be the bridge. I think Mike had mentioned about being the bridge between both worlds, and I think we need more of that. So it's quite awesome.
I'm just reiterating what Bishop Germain had said here. Was kind of referring to the photo behind me there of bridging between those in need and those that have services or happen, whether it's government programs or private sector, to really focus in on our own backyard and the people that need things. And it was interesting to get to know around of what others. So I applaud you, Ron.
All right. Well, looks like Mike might be cutting out a little bit, but I tell you, thank you so much for sharing. I love the word love, right? Thank you for sharing that, Bishop. And I think if we use that word quite a bit more, then there's a lot of purpose that'll flow with it. So outstanding. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's give it up for the first group. It's always tricky to go first. All right, good work. Okay, so I'll send you back to your virtual seat there. And Mamie, great to see you. We go back 3 decades. So thank you so much for joining. We're going to catch up soon. All right, and second group, let's see, do we have somebody raise their hand for the second group?
Obviously, we didn't do a very good job of assigning our spokesperson during our breakout session, but it was 3 people who didn't know each other, and we really spent the time getting to know each other, learning our personal stories. And maybe that was the lesson of our breakout, is that you really have to know people before you can come up with a purpose. And sometimes jumping into purpose too quickly, you miss on the cultural cues, and you can lead a team in the wrong way. So Chad is new to Oregon, just a spectacular individual, and Jenny does some outstanding coaching work and had some very inspirational stories, and it was a very nice visit. So get to know people before you thrust into purpose.
Yes.
That is perfect. Chad or Jenny, did you want to add to that? But yeah, we got to get to know, stop and listen, use the 2 openings versus the 1, right?
Yeah, and get to know relationally people, and like that relates to the loving people. Is I said at the beginning, it's like, man, I wish we'd get to know everybody on here. That's what, so that we can then really work on masterminding in a positive way.
Yeah, we all like the idea of masterminding, and we look forward to doing it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's always easy to throw your name in chat and stay connected and go make a difference together. So thank you all to the second group online. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to escort you all back to the virtual seat here. And meanwhile, I'm going to maybe start on this side in the room here and have a spokesperson come on up and take the mic. Could we have a spokesperson from over here? All right. And let's make sure everybody gets back to their. Okay, now you can see everybody. And go ahead and introduce yourself and take it away. I'll slide behind you. There you go.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Bang. Yeah, I'm from Thailand. Yeah, for our group, the highlight that we can find our purpose of our life is through our brokenness. Yeah, when we discuss about when we have a brokenness, like we can see that what we need, that we need help, that need other to help us out of from our brokenness, so that we can see that we know that many people also still need the same thing that what we need. So we can see our purpose of our life to live in our life in the meaningful life is mean living for other, not just for ourselves. Like pass on what we have, what we experience it, what we got for our past, that to pass on to other and help them to can have a same freedom that we have received it. Yes, thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for sharing, especially Thailand, a special place in my heart. I had the good fortune of doing some work in Thailand, Chantaburi, Rayong, Bangkok, of course, and others around mainland. So thank you so much for sharing and for coming out. And we appreciate everyone for your story. Okay. Hey, this is great. Next group here on site. Who do we have coming in? Sure, I'll have to adjust the mic up here.
Hello everyone. I'm Dmitry. I'm from Kazakhstan, and we were discussing all for all the time, and actually we in our group we came to a common conclusion that we all seeking for help, but not for receiving it, but to giving help to others, because giving help to others is something which well, when you do this, your existence actually makes sense because you're making a difference to the world. And so yeah, I think that's our main idea. That's our common idea. Yeah. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. You know, something about giving that we all love that makes you feel good inside. But a great point there about our existence and helping it all make sense. And really that's what purpose comes back to sometimes, is just like, why am I here? What am I doing? And when we get that rooted and we get a good understanding, it helps motivate us and move us forward. So thank you for our second team here, and our third team on the ground here. Are you ready? All right. Okay. Take it away. Please introduce yourself and share. Maybe walk around that way. There you
go. Hello, I am Pinya, and this is our discussing. First of all, like you have to know your purpose. What is your purpose? That's not simple to find it. It's a deep thing to find your purpose. Maybe it start at you seeing people needs around you, maybe and to focus on author-centered to helping other people. The purpose should and the purpose that you have should achievable, realistic now, like you can do it now or not, and you must take risk or courage to do it, and live it out with author in the committee. Thank you. Very excited.
I love it. Courage, courage and risk. And speaking of courage, I had the good fortune of doing a presentation. It was at a university in Mexico, a decade or so ago, in Spanish. It was one of the most terrifying things that I have ever done. And I slipped in some jokes just so I made sure they were actually listening and I get a laugh so for those that came up here in with English as the second language and publicly talk, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing, and congratulations to everyone for your work with CoServe. We really appreciate you coming out and the work that you do. Servant leadership is something that is near and dear to my heart, and it's awesome to see, especially in these crazy times that we're in right now, that you're continuing, pandemic and all, to move forward with servant leadership. That's inspiring for me. Special thanks to James online. How about let's give it up for our online host? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. To all of our special guests, thank you for sharing your story. KP over here, otherwise known as Kristen, great friend. Thank you for helping on the sound system. I'll tell you what, I am so appreciative of everyone here, and it's just beautiful to see the convening on this topic. It's been inspiring for me. So thank you. If you're around, or if you have access to the internet, on our next mastermind will be the third Tuesday in August, and the number is not in the tip of my tongue, but I will get it here on my handy device, and that is August 16th. It is at Verde's office in Northeast Portland. We will live stream also at 4 o'clock. You can go to besthq.net for additional details, and hopefully we'll see you. If you're on Zoom, it's actually going to be the same Zoom, little secret. It'll be the same Zoom address as this one here, so you can save it. Did we have one more comment? Yeah. Thank you for the question, and again, thank you for your testimonial. BESThq was originally inspired as Business Executive Sustainable Training, BEST, BEST. HQ is headquarters, headquarters or a space. I thought of it on a run. It was inspired on a run. That's kind of the simple. So, thank you. And again, thank you all. With that, you're free to relax here, get to know each other on site, online. We'll leave it open for another 14 minutes or so till the end, to the 6 o'clock hour for a little more networking. We can leave the breakout rooms open. If you did want to go into a breakout room, you can do that, but then we'll close them at 6 o'clock. And feel free to exchange information. So with that, I'm going to have everyone a safe, sustainable, purposeful rest of the evening, and we'll see you again soon.